So, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. It's an honor to be here in Kanpur. I didn't make it for the opening. I was here maybe 20 years ago for Ratna or something. It was a very beautiful temple. Very proud of the achievement and accomplishment that they're making in Radha Mandir. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, Text 23 and 24. Ambarish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni. Is there Hindi translation or just English? Huh? English. Okay, verse 23. I will try to speak slowly so those who speak some English can understand something here. Yasya kartushu girvanais sadasya ripjo janaha tulya rupash chaniminsha vyadrishyanta suvasasaha. Translation and purport is Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In the sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Ambarish, the members of the assembly and the priests, especially Hota, Udgata, Rama, and Advaryu, were gorgeously dressed, and they all looked exactly like demigods. They eagerly saw to the proper performance of the yajna. So text 24. Svargona prarthito yasya Svargona prarthito yasya Manujaya amara priya Manujaya amara priya Srinvadvir upagayavir Srinvadvir upagayavir Uttama shloka cheshtatam Uttama shloka cheshtatam Svargona prarthito yasya Manuja amara priya Srinvadvir upagayavir Uttama shloka cheshtatam Svargona prarthito yasya Manuja amara priya enjoyed by the citizens. Amara Priya, very dear even to the demigods. Srinvati, who were accustomed to hear. Upagayati, and accustomed to chant. Uttama Shloka, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Cheshtitam, about the glorious activities. Translation: the citizens of the state of Maharaj Ambarish were accustomed to chanting and hearing about the glorious activities of the personality of Godhead. Thus they never aspired to be elevated to the heavenly planets, which are extremely dear even to the demigods. Please repeat. The citizens of the state of Maharaj Ambarish were accustomed to chanting and hearing about the glorious activities of the personality of Godhead. Thus they never aspired to be elevated to the heavenly planets, which are extremely dear even to the demigods. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A pure devotee who has been trained in the practice of chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord and His fame, qualities, form, paraphernalia, and so on, is never interested in elevation to the heavenly planets, even though such places are extremely dear even to the demigods. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana vidyati svarga pavarganarakeshu apitu yartadarshanam. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan never fear any condition of life. The heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same to a devotee. This is from Bhagavatam, 6 cantos, 17th chapter, 28th verse. A devotee is always situated in the spiritual world, therefore he does not desire anything. He is known as a kama, or desireless, because he has nothing to desire except to render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Maharaj Ambarish was the most exalted devotee of the Lord, he trained his subjects in such a way that the citizens in his state were not interested in anything material, including even the happiness of the heavenly planets. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanajana Shalakaya Chakshurum Vidham Tena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namavistam Sahavitam Tena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dati Swamam Shri Guru Shri Tathamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sadhajatam Sagaram Aganatam Gatam Shri Radha Krishna Bhagana Lalita Shri Vishakanditamasya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Chikate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vishavanu Sukade Pranamami Vanchakalpa Prabhisha Ekal Sukadevasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Beautiful verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, under the care of Maharaj Ambarish, who was a great devotee of the Lord. He taught all his citizens about the hearing, chanting, the glories of the Lord. And here is described that because of their hearing and chanting and dedicated service to the Lord, they had no aspiration for material enjoyment. They had no desire to go to the heavenly planets where life is much more comfortable, beautiful. The longer duration of life is there. Even though in many religious practices people perform various sacrifices and various activities so they can be promoted to the higher planets. They can be promoted to a heavenly, comfortable situation. But we see from Srila Prabhupada's example how, due to the fact this Narayana Parasarve Nathatashna Vivyati Svarga Pavagananakeshu Apitu Yakta Darshanam, devotees of the Lord, they engage in devotional service and they never fear any condition of life. So, who at the age of 70 is willing to go on a freighter or some kind of freight ship, cross the ocean to a foreign land with no money and not knowing anyone, and carry the message of the Lord because out of love and compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So we were hearing, many of you might be aware, we had our 40th anniversary in Vrindavan on Ram Navami, and leading up to that anniversary, many devotees who came to the Prabhupada after going to America, planting the seeds, suffered health issues, came back to India, because always taking shelter in his home in Vrindavan. When you're sick, they say, go home, take rest. So Prabhupada, he planted the seeds and was starting this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preaching the message of the Goswamis. He came back to Vrindavan and he came back to help, and then again went to America to the second phase, preaching vigorously to spread this message. Ambarish Maharaj is spreading to his kingdom. So Srila Prabhupada is creating his own, not his own society, the society of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Because people need association. Otherwise, they're only associated with those who are interested only in money. What is the bank balance? What is the rate, the trade, exchange? Everyone is struggling in this world to get wealthy so they can enjoy the heavenly pleasures. But Srila Prabhupada created this society so that people can have a chance to associate with sadhus. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Shastra Koi. Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Siddhi Koi. That if we can be fortunate enough, by the grace of Krishna and Guru, to come in contact with a genuine sadhu, and sadhu is characterized by his tatikshava, his tolerance, karunika, his mercy. He's a friend of all living beings. So this was characterized and very clearly exhibited by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada brought back his white elephants, just as it says in Bhagavad Gita. This message can be taught to the fallen souls, to the Shudras, to the women, to anybody. It's not that one has to be born in a particular exclusive family or some high birth or parentage. Although these are the results of good karma, karma daiva trena, to be born in a Brahmana family, to be born in Punya Bhumi, Bharat Bhumi, land of India, very pious, to have the opportunity to worship Radha Krishna, Lord Jagannath, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, hearing about the Lord's past, and practically from birth. So these are very fortunate signs that one is very lucky. But sometimes we see that when one has wealth, opulence, beauty, knowledge, then the ego kicks in. Oh, I am this body. I come from a great heritage. I'm very, very wealthy. In most countries, if somebody is very, very wealthy, people are very impressed. Or it might be a big political leader, very famous, or someone who's very, very beautiful. Many contests are there. Miss India, Miss America, Miss Universe. So there are many attractions in this material world, but they're not leading to any happiness. Real happiness comes when we remember Krishna, when we awaken our Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada brought back devotees who were fully dedicated to Srila Prabhupada and who were actually becoming fearless. Because what was Lord Chaitanya's mission, the Sankirtan mission, this preaching of Harinam? Lord Nityananda, Haridas Thakur would go to preach, and Haridas Thakur always finds himself running for his life because the miscreants are trying to harm them. And he's joking with Nityananda, why are you always putting me in this difficult situation? And we see about Jagai and Madhai, how they attack the Lord Nityananda, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was ready to annihilate. But Lord Chaitanya, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane, Gaura Krishna Maha. Very, very merciful, very kind. In this age of Kali Yuga, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna Sandoham Gastra Parshadam Jagnani Sankirtan Prayer Yajanti Hisameda Saha. So in this age of Kali Yuga, the religion for the age is chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada brought all these born devotees, and they were chanting through the streets in India. I remember actually in Vrindavan, many years ago, we had our first Mathura Rath Yatra. It was a time when there was 1,000 devotees visiting. We had flags, and we had this Rath Yatra going down the streets in Mathura. And on the balconies, the Mathura Vasis were throwing flowers, and then Lokanath Maharaj was chanting, and many devotees were chanting and dancing ecstatically. So the memory of Krishna Balaram coming to Mathura was very much awakened and enlivening. So seeing these devotees chanting and dancing and very, very enthusiastic to embrace Krishna, to remember Krishna, to glorify Krishna, many of those born in India were thinking, this is our culture, Krishna's our religion, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. So they joined very nicely. Many devotees you see now are coming because of Prabhupada's blessings and Prabhupada's mercy. But during that 40th anniversary, many of the original devotees, Guru Kripa Prabhu, Guru Das, Shri Kirti Prabhu, Harisari Prabhu, many of the personal servants of Prabhupada, Mother Daiva Shakti and Mother Shri Rupa, many who remembered how Vrindavan was being, Prabhupada wanted to have a temple, this Krishna Balaram Mandir, and all the devotees came together. Many have not seen each other for 30, 40 years, and just bringing back that memory of their serving together to please Prabhupada. It's just, this is the devotee's happiness that he can serve his guru, and because what is the guru's business? Shivigrahara Dhananityanana Sringaratana Tira Manjanana. So there's a lot of duties. We're worshiping the deities, we're cleaning the temple, we're going preaching Krishna consciousness. And during one of the talks, specifically when I read this verse, how a devotee is fearless, I invited one of my friends, Bhanavata Prabhu, the old Sankirtan devotee. He was in the original Namahata collecting team that was in Japan under Guru Kripa Maharaj's guidance. And he told a story how devotees, after some time, because when you're on the streets trying to propagate Krishna consciousness, naturally the materialists want to stop us. Many may have had experiences. I've been arrested several times in the streets in America. I may be a criminal, but a criminal for Krishna. Distributing books and preaching because they have their material laws. Oh, you can't do this on a public street. So the immigration department in Japan was becoming very strict and arresting many, many devotees. And so they started going to different locations away from Tokyo. And he told one story, I'll make it short, but he was one day after. When you're a Sankirtan devotee, when you get up in the morning, when the kirtan is going for Mangal Arati, the devotees were dancing and jumping this high. They were jumping very enthusiastically, calling out the name of Krishna. And the kirtan is raging. And when they're chanting the japa, they're focused on the holy name because it's like charging the battery. You know, when we all know about our computers and our phones, when the battery's down, you have to plug it in and charge it up again. So the kirtan was the charging instrument. They would chant, they would dance, and they would prepare themselves for the day on Sankirtan. This is not only one day, but every day. They go out every day for months, for years. So this was going on in Bhagavata Prabhu. He was feeling very empowered, not in a I say, false ego, puffed up way, but he just felt the Lord's mercy that today everyone will take a book, or everyone will stop and give some donation for Lord Chaitanya. There's a magic. I worked also for many years on the streets in Sankirtan, and some days you have some extra special potency. You see somebody, they see you, and they almost become mesmerized. I worked at the airport in Miami for 15 years, and people say, oh, it's amazing how you can stop people and give somebody a book, even though they may not want the book, but they still take it. This is the Lord's mercy, the special potency. At any rate, he was feeling very empowered, and he was distributing and being very conscious. But then he noticed there's one, like a gang, there's street gangs, and these are like very notorious street gang of Japanese people. And one leader amongst them, he wanted to show up in front of all his other gang members. So he went in front of, said, what is this? What is this nonsense you're doing here? And so Bhanavat was more dramatic because he was using the Japanese lines and everything. And he took the magazine and threw it in the ground, and he looked at all his friends like, look how I insulted this person who's out here in Sankirtan. So normally, he's a Westerner in a foreign land, and he's doing something that the legal authorities consider illegal. And now he's kind of surrounded by gang members and a threatening situation. So this is, he's a devotee in a very awkward situation, almost in a hellish condition, almost in a hellish life, because the fear of not only imprisonment, but at this point, these ruffians could kill him. We've heard many stories. So Bhanavata became so disturbed by seeing the picture of the Gaurani Tai in the gutter, in the street, that he screamed and he said, you come here and you pick it up. And he commanded in such a powerful way that this leader of the Mahapya, the Kangaroo, you know, he was looking at his other friends and members, and they said, Bhanavat was so insistent and so determined, felt so much protected. Prahlad Maharaj felt very protected, but just because of a natural humility and natural understanding that the Lord is there to protect us. Lord Nrsimhadev is protecting us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu protected Haridas Thakur, who was being beaten and from marketplace to marketplace. So he could not say no. He picked up, wiped the magazine, he wanted to give it back. He said, no. You take the magazine, you give a donation. And this ruffian was looking again at all his friends what to do. And they all said, whatever. And he was so determined and so clear that he wanted to give this mercy to such a fallen rascal that he opened up his wallet, gave a very significant donation. Then the big boss of the whole gang was watching the whole affair. And he came up and he patted Bhanavat on the back and said, you know, he appreciated his determination, his strength, his conviction. And he gave a donation, and he made every member come and give a donation and take it away. So this is the power of having faith in Guru and having faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the devotees were not simply out trying to make money or thinking that they're going to be some gratification. The reason why the devotees were enthusiastic is to please Prabhupada, to build Krishna Balaram Mandir, to spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, because people are suffering in a conditioned life. They're suffering and they're struggling with old age, disease, death. Unfortunately, no one is giving them the solution to the real problems of life. You might build a big empire and have 100 million crores or billions of dollars, but at the time of death, it's all taken away. Your dear family members are taken away. Your reputation, your prestige. You're thinking that I've achieved this, I've achieved that. All of that just stripped away at a snap. It said, do not click, or at a click or a snap, it's all finished. So we're trying to enjoy this material world, but enjoyment is only in the association of devotees. It's only available for those who take shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to have a community. And so as we're maturing and growing, we have to take shelter, live a simple life. We're promoting, obviously, the Varnashram Dharma. And we're promoting the chanting of the holy name. So when you see the natural life of Krishna and Balaram are leading in Vrindavan, they would be milking the cows, living off the land, having plenty of butter and ghee, and with their friends they would go in the forest with the cowherd friends, and there's gopis there, there's relationship with the parents, there's relationship with the friends. I mean, that's what life is all about. People want to have love, they want to have a partner, relationship. You have so many friends, you want to be with your friends. You definitely want to take nice prasad, We came to Kanpur, we knew that we were going to get nice prasad here in Kanpur. And then this fun and game, but it's all centered around Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada, very systematically, very scientifically, he's formulated this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, opened up schools, opened up farm projects, opened up so many beautiful temples, training brahmanas, whipping us, read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam, hear the lectures, associate with sadhus, avoid eating anything outside, only take Krishna prasadam. And then by this process, because of our diseased condition of being in this material world, we need to follow the doctor's prescription. We need to take our medicine and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We need to take cow's milk so we can have refined intelligence, because with intelligence we can contemplate the higher values of life. Who am I? Here's Sanatana Goswami, although born in a very good family, but he was running the government for Nawab Hussein's son. He and his brother, Dabir Kazim, Sakar Malik, they took on even Muslim names, and they were in government position. He spoke many, many languages, and people would consider him, very wealthy, very powerful, very learned. So he had all these things, but then he comes in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, who am I? Why am I forced to suffer in this world? Why are sufferings coming to me? So he's asking the questions of a civilized, intelligent human being, that we should inquire, why are we here in this world? Why are we suffering, getting old, getting diseased, and dying? It's not natural. We're not meant to die, because we're eternal. Bhagavad Gita, the whole second chapter, Krishna is establishing with Arjuna, you are eternal, we are all eternal. We've all existed in the past, we're existing now, we'll continue to exist in the future. Do not lament, but do your duty. And what is our duty? Our duty is to find a bona fide spiritual master, asat sanga tyag avaishnavachar. We should avoid the association of non-devotees, take the association of devotees. And by the sadhu sangha, anartha nivritti syat, our bad qualities, our bad habits will fall away. Simply by the sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya. When you associate with sadhus, you want to do as they're doing, hear about Krishna, dance, chant, take prasadam. So this is bhajana kriya. Hear Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavad Gita. Anartha nivritti, then all the bad qualities go away. Then you start experiencing this ruchi, and become fixed in this process of devotional service. So we should live as the citizens of Ambarish Maharaj, live without fear, without false expectations of happiness in the heavenly kingdom. We're living under the kingdom of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's guidance, Prabhupada's society, and I guess there's many meetings now we're trying to fix all the little irregularities that may be there in our society together, peacefully, cooperatively. We're trying to work so that we can have a society that can give guidance to the fallen conditioned souls. So, stop there. Anyone have any questions or comments on this verse? So, how many devotees are here in Kanpur? 100 devotees? Kanpur devotees? 60? So everyone is feeling fearless, ready to carry on the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada. The chant of Mahamantra, carry on. Hare